Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Recently I've been pretty busy and I haven't been able to drop some of the videos that I wanted to in the last week or so because I just been too busy. But, I'm going to try to go ahead and get this one out. I got a couple other things that I want to talk about as well. Hopefully I have some time to drop them. I'm actually about to head out in the next 30 minutes right now, and I got to go and get my son some sparring today. But anyway, first things first, I want to go ahead and give shouts out to my man, Chris Robinson from HustleBoss.com. He came, he was at the gym, and he basically filmed me and my son training the other day. So, that was pretty cool. Shouts out to him. He has one of the biggest channels on YouTube. If you guys don't already know, I'm sure everyone knows who Hustle Boss is. Check out his channel and subscribe. So let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. So it was just recently reported, and this is, if I got $1 for every single time a professional or a well-known professional boxer or trainer said what Gennady Golovkin's trainer Abel Sanchez said today or the other day, I wouldn't even be working. I'd be sitting somewhere on a damn yacht, probably sipping on a damn pina colada or something, chilling. So let me go ahead and basically tell you what Abel Sanchez said about Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Basically, he said that Mayweather would beat Manny Pacquiao very easy. He said that the first couple of rounds will probably be competitive, but after, Mayweather gets warmed up, it'll be very easy for him. He said that Floyd Mayweather is just too skilled for Manny Pacquiao, and he has always believed that Mayweather would beat Pacquiao easy even before the Juan Marquez knockout loss. Now, when it comes to me hearing this, Abel Sanchez, he ain't telling me nothing that I don't know. All right? And for you educated fans out there, he ain't telling you guys nothing. I mean, he ain't doing nothing but preaching to the choir over here. Shit, that's like Jeffrey Dahmer trying to teach Charles Manson how to murder a motherfucker, right? Shit. You ain't teaching Manson a damn thing that he don't already know. All this does, once again, is it shines the truth on the ignorant, uneducated fans that don't want to know the truth, don't want to acknowledge the truth, right? I mean, think about it, guys. And I'm only talking about, like I said, the ignorant casual fans right now. Once again, I've said this a million times, and I'm going to continue to say it. Don't you guys find it ironic, the casual fans, don't you find it ironic that at least 98% of boxing trainers and fighters, professional fighters that we all know, they all agree with people like me, with people like Nacho Beristain, Juan Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, Mosley, Hatton, Malignaggi, whoever else you can think of. They all agree with our assessment of Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. The only people that you will hear saying the most ridiculous stuff are people online, right? And a couple of movie stars that don't even follow the sport. And the only people they know in the sport is Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Those are the ones that will give you some of the dumbest analysis when it comes to the sport. And we all know this. Unfortunately, every other sport, football, basketball, I truly believe, from at least the way I hear these guys talk, the majority of basketball, football fans, baseball even, and all the other sports, they are educated fans. I would say the vast majority. But when it comes to boxing, unfortunately, the vast majority of boxing fans are ignorant and uneducated. All right? They're not all ignorant. So like I said, it's different categories. Some are just they're begging for the knowledge, but they don't have it. But they're begging for it. And when you feed them the knowledge, then they become a little wiser. And then you have that other category of casual fans. They just don't want to hear the truth. I mean, no matter what you provide them with, you could provide them with DNA evidence, okay? You could provide them with surveillance footage of someone doing the actual crime, and they're going to say, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, or it wasn't my client, or whatever the case may be, because they don't want to hear the truth. And you say some shit that makes sense, they might even start plugging their ear like, la, 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 I don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the truth, all right? Like I said, you could sit there and give them DNA evidence, and they will still deny it. Just like you have like a small handful of people who, when people found out by way of DNA that everyone, comes from Africa, if you trace your ancestors all the way back by way of DNA, we find this out, you still had a couple of ignorant people, they didn't want to accept it. Even though we use DNA to put people in prison, you use DNA to find out if a child is yours, they didn't want to believe that this same DNA proved that they came from Africa, right? Or their ancestors came from there. So, it's the same thing with the sport of boxing. You have these ignorant casual fans that don't want to accept the truth. And talking about our family tree, where we originate from, that's another reason why there should be no such thing as racism. But that's another whole long story, as we know, right? And just real quick, if you guys look at this picture right here that I'm showing you right now, you look at all those boxing gloves and headgear set up right there, all of those gloves and everything is actually set up only for Floyd Mayweather. Those are all his gloves. So what he basically does is he has someone set everything up and put them all out so he could choose which color he's going to use for, today's training or sparring, okay? So with that out the way, let's get back to the actual topic, which is what Gennady Golovkin's trainer said about Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Another thing you guys have to realize is, I always say this, and I will continue to say this as well, skill, recognize skill. Why do you guys think Golovkin is not in a hurry to fight someone like an Andre Ward? Because skill, recognize skill. Okay, why is he willing to fight Chavez Jr. at 168? But he really has no interest in fighting against Andre Ward. Sure, he said that he will fight him someday, but just not right now. And he may fight him someday. He might be pressured into taking that fight eventually. But the point is, Triple G has never really had an urgency or an interest in facing someone like Andre Ward. This is the reason why Golovkin didn't really have an interest in fighting a smaller Erislandy Lara. Skill, recognize skill. And I know you have a lot of people defending Golovkin because he's a hope right now, and people will defend him no matter what he does. Golovkin could come straight out and say, I'm afraid of Erislandy Lara. And people will still be leaving comments, oh, he said that under duress. Somebody probably had a gun to his head when he was saying that. Golovkin didn't mean that. He didn't take his medication, and he was just, probably sleepwalking or sleep talking. They'll say some silly shit that don't make sense, basically, is the point I'm making. So no matter what he says, like I said, people defending him right now, saying, oh, Golovkin, he's not afraid. The whole world, damn near 70% of the whole world will say that Floyd Mayweather is afraid of Manny Pacquiao, right? But when it comes, even though we know that Floyd Mayweather doesn't want to work with Bob Arum, Floyd Mayweather is Golden Boy affiliated, and Bob Arum is HBO and Top Rank affiliated, right? But even though we know that when it comes to them, the majority of the world, they still say that Floyd is afraid of Manny Pacquiao, because that goes back to what I told you guys earlier. In the sport of boxing, the majority of fans are casual fans, which explains that, right? But all of a sudden, this is when the double standard comes in. When it comes to Gennady Golovkin avoiding fighting a smaller guy, Erislandy Lara, what do they say? Oh, come on, man. Golden Boy and Golden Boy and Top Rank don't work together. A fighter from HBO is not going to fight a fighter, from Showtime, etc., right? But yet at the same time, they forget that these same people, they were accusing Floyd Mayweather of ducking Gennady Golovkin. They were saying that, Golovkin, he should fight Floyd Mayweather, or he should get a shot at Floyd Mayweather. Golovkin was saying that he was interested in fighting Floyd Mayweather, right? But they weren't saying, oh, Golovkin can never fight Floyd Mayweather because, he's affiliated with HBO and all of this kind of crap, right? Even though he's not even a top-ranked fighter, he's just affiliated with HBO. But you guys see the point that I'm making. The shit doesn't make sense is the bottom line. Skill, recognize skill. And that is the bottom line. The truth is the truth. If ignorant casual fans made any sense, then when you talk to a trainer, a boxer, they would have split opinions. It'd be close to split down the middle when it comes to who you think will win a fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao, right? Wouldn't it be kind of split down the middle? Wouldn't it be, almost half saying this, or maybe even 60-40? But it's not even close to 60-40. It's like 95-5, basically. That tells you that the truth is the truth. But ignorant fans cannot handle the truth. And I know there are going to be a lot of casual, ignorant fans that are going to hate to hear me telling the truth about this situation right here. And all I can say to that is, oh motherfucking well. The truth, you going to always get the truth on this channel. All right? I ain't going to be like some of these channels that worry about people not wanting to hear the truth and, unsubscribing to their channel. I don't give a damn. I'm going to always tell the truth. Okay? That is guaranteed. Because there are always going to be people out there that want to hear the truth. Okay? So if one person, unsubscribes or doesn't want to watch the channel, guess what? He gets replaced with about 5 people that want to hear the truth. That's the way it works. At least that's the way it's worked for me. So, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Once again, for the millionth time, when it comes to the sport of boxing, people are emotionally attached. But see, I have the ability to separate my ideology from my emotional feelings towards a fighter that I may like or a fighter that I may not like. Like I said, I could hate the shit out of Canelo Alvarez if I wanted to, but I'm not going to pick, some guy who I know won't beat him over him. I'm going to still break it down and try to make sense of it before I tell you guys who I think is going to win a fight. I'm not going to allow my emotional feelings to take charge of, my assessment of breaking down a fight. I'm not going to do it. And that's what these fans do on YouTube. When you start hearing people say, oh, you like that guy, and oh, this and that, you're talking emotion. You're not talking about the sport anymore. I mean, if you were in a court of law, and let's just say maybe, you're a prosecutor, and, you hear the defense attorney, coming up with legitimate evidence that his client didn't commit the crime, you can't just say to the jury and say to the judge, you know what, Your Honor, he's only saying this because he likes that guy, because he's been biased. They don't give a damn about that. It's obvious when you are in a court, when you are in a trial, that the defense attorney is going to be biased towards his client and the prosecutor is going to be biased towards his client. Everyone already knows that coming in. So in a case like that, who are you going to basically side with when you're trying to find out who's guilty or who's not guilty? Who are you going to favor? You're going to go ahead and favor the party that has proven their case beyond reasonable doubt, right? It doesn't matter who you think is biased that's talking. It only matters who can prove their point, who can prove their case. All right? So that's pretty much all I got to say on this one, guys. I'm on to the next one.